Computer. Okay, got the recording started, and Jillayne, I'll pass it over to you.
All right, thank you, Don. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining today. I am going to just kind of go over a little bit of my journey. A little bit about myself is I have 3 kids. They are now 2 9-year-olds. I have twin girls who are 9, and then I have a 7-year-old boy. Well, he'll be 7 this weekend. So, oh my, it's so windy here that there's stuff blowing everywhere. So sorry if you hear loud noises. And this, like Don said, is my 3rd year as a captain, 2019, 2020, and 2021. Starting on my 4th year now. A little bit about my story. In 2018 on Father's Day, I woke up in the hospital to find out that my family had been in a horrible car accident. All 3 of my kids were okay. They suffered some injuries, but we're all still alive. However, my husband did not make it out of that car accident. He died on the scene, and I had a pretty bad head injury as well. And the accident was the night before at about, I don't know, 7 or 8 or something. And I woke up probably around noon in the hospital the next day to kind of put all the pieces together. After that, we spent a few days in the hospital, and then it was just getting home and now trying to figure out how to do life as a single parent. Jared, my husband, was a very, very involved parent, constantly, all hands on, so much energy. So it was, not only was I filling the role of being a single parent, but also having to fill his shoes were huge shoes to fill. So just kind of, juggling the 3 kids. At the time, they were 5 and 3, so they were pretty little. And it was just, their emotions, my emotions. We had up days, we had down days. Fast forward 6 months to Christmas time. And again, just kind of a season going into, things had steadied out a little bit. But now Christmas, how do we do Christmas without Jared? And how, how is this all gonna look? And just emotionally, how are we gonna get through this? The kids and I had been, one of my things was, we had I don't remember, I think it was 6 different police departments on the scene of our accident. And so there were a ton of first responders involved. And one thing I had just been trying so hard to think of or to come up with is, how do we thank these people? Because they literally saved our lives. They had been with us. They had, I don't remember seeing any of them, but the stuff that I had gotten from them and notes and things like that, it was crazy, the outreach. So Christmas Eve that year, the kids and I decided we were just gonna, we had some downtime in the morning. We were going to make some cards and send them to the first responders. So we sat down, we drew pictures, colored cards, put them in the mailbox. Later that afternoon, my family, as well as Jared's family, came over and we did church Christmas Eve evening. And then we're going to come back to my house afterwards for, snacks and just to hang out for the night and do gifts and things like that. So we got home from church and, everybody started getting everything ready. And I was like, I'm putting my pajamas on. And my sister's like, no, not yet, not yet. And I was like, yes, now. And she said, no, she's like, I really need help with whatever she distracted me with. I don't know what it was. And about 5 minutes later, through my garage door walked in a stranger with one of my neighbors. And I was like, she was holding a clipboard or a 3-ring binder. It's like, what's going on? I had no clue. I'd never heard of Best Christmas Ever. I just completely shocked. Her name was Jess. Jess started talking and she said she was with Best Christmas Ever and she had a surprise for me outside and the kids. So she first handed us these little teddy bears that she had made out of Jared's clothes, and the kids were so excited. They still have those, still sleep with them every single night. And then from there, she walked us out the front door. Once we got out the front door, up pulled 2 fire trucks. From those fire trucks were I think there were about 20 of the first responders from our accident scene. And they came out of those trucks for what seemed like ever, carrying piles and piles and piles of gifts. They came in, they scattered my living room with just piles of gifts. I got to meet some of them, talk to some of them. My family had talked to some of them before, but I just hadn't like found the courage or the way to, reach out. And so I got to meet several of them. Well, all the ones that were there, they said, that wasn't even close to everybody that was there. But so that alone was, if just those people would have showed up in those fire trucks with carrying nothing, it would have made my Christmas. It was just such a thoughtful thing. And I'll talk a little bit later about how to really dive deep and how to get those, it's not just about getting all the dolls and candy for your kids or things like that. It's really about diving deep and finding out what people are really gonna appreciate and what they really need at that time in their lives. And that is exactly what I needed. So then after that, the kids were so excited. Parker got to see the fire truck and jumping up and down in the snowbanks. And it was awesome. Once everything kind of settled down, we opened gifts, I think, for like 6 days straight. I was like, all right, you can each have X number today and X number tomorrow, because if we tear through this whole thing, it's just going to be a mess. And we're going to, so they had a really good Christmas that year. And then I had to explain to them that next year Christmas won't look like this, but it was just something that really made our Christmas just a little bit easier. And then going through the gifts, and once we did start opening them, our big ticket item that Jess had gotten us was a play set for out in our backyard. We live in a neighborhood with 10 million kids, and after the accident, my kids wouldn't leave my side. It was, can't go to the bathroom with the door shut. It's like, Mom, where are you? Mom, where are you? Mom, where are you? So for them to leave even just our backyard was not going to happen. So that play set has been used so many hours, and all the kids just come over and play, and it was comfortable for my kids to be able to be at their house but yet have their friends. And just, again, super thoughtful gift from Jess. She also, you could just tell that although we had a living room pile of gifts, most of them were not just presents. They were truly, there was thought put behind them. It was things that we needed in our family. It was things that the kids need. It was snow pants and it was gloves for the kids for the next year. It was, just a lot of thought put into it. So I think that was something that was very, very apparent. It wasn't just, hey, how easy is it for for twin 5-year-old girls to just get 1,000 LOL dolls and, all the little kid toys. But we got a little bit of like fun toys for kids, but a lot of things that they needed and that I needed. So after everything kind of settled down, I had reached out to Jess. Actually, she had reached out to me a few times with additional things like, hey, I just hadn't had this quite yet, but I also have this for you. And I also have, so I had talked to her a few times, and then I said, you know what? I said, I got to do this. Like, sign me up. What do I do? Can you help me? Can I be your partner next year? And she said, yeah, let's do a family together next year. I was like, okay, great. So then the next year nominations come around, and her and I met up to start reading through them. And as we went through them, we found two, and they just couldn't, one of them, they were both families that lost a parent. And obviously that hit real close to home for me. And we just couldn't decide. And she said, let's do them both. I was like, I like it. Let's do them both. So then what we kind of ended up doing is we were like, okay, we'll just share both, you know, but it totally ended up that I had a family and Jess had a family. We went to each other's drops. We helped, like, hey, I have Vikings tickets and your family likes the Vikings. And hey, I have, you know, we kind of cross. And I think that's something that you can always do with different captains, you know, once you kind of get to know some other captains and other people. It's like, oh, I have this really awesome thing, but my family's not really into, you know, sports or whatever it might be, and kind of trading off. But so we each took a family, and let's see, at that point for her, it was kind of like, where do I start? Where do I begin? But a lot of what I did is kind of dug into my experience, you know, started setting up my Kindful account, started using social media is like a huge thing now. You know, sometimes I think people feel bad or guilty to be posting about give me money kind of things, but it's not that at all. And people, once they kind of start to know what you're doing and what you're up to, are gonna they really feed off of those posts. Or it'll even be, you know, me posting about raising the money, and they'll say, hey, I know a family that I would like to nominate. And it's like, great, you know, and getting them the nomination. It's just, there's so many different areas of, it's not just asking for money, you know, there's so many different facets of it that kind of all come together. So I think that was just kind of a thing of like, just jump in, you know. There's tons of, for those of you who have not been captains before, the BCE team does a really good job about putting together videos and meetings and things like that on how to get started, how to set up your Kindful account, how to fundraise, different things like that. And then from there, it's just kind of you putting your own spin on it. A couple of things. So that's kind of my story and how I got in to be a captain.
Jillayne,
Yeah, go ahead.
Quick question.
Yeah.
What was like the one moment when you knew, like, hey, we're gonna be paying this thing forward? Because life was still at that point, you know, it was still not it was like still a situation, you know, like you're still navigating. At what point did you know, hey, we're gonna do this for somebody else next year?
So honestly, right away, I was kind of like, in my head, it was a thing of like, oh, Jess works for this company, you know, and it's like, that's great. And then like talking to her a little bit more, and she's like, no, I have a job, and this is just like for fun, you know, this is all, and just kind of learning a little bit more about BCE and and like seeing her dedication, because she put every ounce of herself into this. And that for me was just, I want to be her. Like, I want to be Jess Lozano, and I need to do as good as she did. And my kids need to see this. So the kids, I think the kids were a big part of it. Like, hey, they're young. How do I start teaching them that this is what we do, and that we're going to make Christmas about giving to another family rather than what can we get? How can we, you know, how many presents can we get, or things like that. And honestly, that has been the craziest payoff for me. My kids, they know all about BCE. They know when it's time for BCE. Today I told them I had this call, and they're like, whoa, Mom, that's really early. I'm like, yep, we're getting started. But with that, 2 years ago, my family, they had lost a little boy, And in that family was I think the girls were 7 at the family had a 7-year-old girl, and my girls were 7. And they said they wanted a hoverboard so bad for Christmas that year. And they said, we want to get that little girl. My kids even, it's like, what are the names of all of them? Who are the, and they get to know their names, and we look at pictures, and by the time we go and do the drop, they're like, they call them by name, and it's kind of like they really have engulfed themselves in it. But they wanted to get this hoverboard. And I said, all right, where are you going to get $200 to buy a hoverboard? And they're like, we're going to sell our bracelets to the neighbors. It's like, okay, go for it. Go make bracelets and sell them to the neighbors. They came back with $230 after the first round around the neighborhood. And they said, now we're going to get her a Nintendo Switch too. And I was like, haha, you're funny. Like, great. You need what, $500 more? I don't know what it was, something crazy. They're like, okay, can we make more bracelets? Can we make more beads? I was like, yep. And they did that probably like 4 or 5 nights after school. They went around selling, and I drove them over to the next neighborhood, and they made $880 selling bracelets for BCE. So they were able to get this little girl her Nintendo Switch. They got her a hoverboard, and they also got her something else off her list. I don't remember. I think it was some sort of special doll or American Girl doll or something like that. But so that was so great for them. And then this year, I upped it a little bit to think, okay, everybody in the neighborhood has bracelets. Now what do I do? So I have a friend who has a popcorn shop, and she made us mini bags of popcorn and sold them to me for super cheap. So I bought those, and the kids went out and sold popcorn, and again, made over $800 on selling popcorn. We had an event at a brewery where they brought the popcorn, and people would give $40 for a bag of popcorn, just like as a donation. So just kind of thinking of stuff like that, and really, if you have kids, or if you have grandkids, or if you have neighbors or anything, just getting them involved. And they look forward so much to BCE every year. They come to my events with me. And it's not, their Christmas is about who's our BCE family and how are we going to do better than we did last year, rather than what am I getting for Christmas? What am I, so it's just been so much fun for getting that involvement from them. I think that that's really one of my biggest driving factors, is just, giving back, and then also their excitement and joy that goes into it.
It's so awesome to be able to hear, because like one thing we've said, like best Christmas ever, about changing the meaning of Christmas from what can I get to what can I give. And it's just seeing that play out. It's so awesome. And just seeing how you're like you're inspiring the crap out of so many people. Like I've had people at events come up to me and like Jillayne, Lazer, that and what you've gone on to do. She's humble about it, but she's gone on to raise about 50,000 she had raised. I undershot it by about 20 or 30 grand of what she's been able to do with her and her family, just to be a force for good for so many other families. And it's so crazy. After you spoke at the 2019 gala, my mom, who's been hearing about long time, and part of it, she signed up to be a captain after hearing Jillayne speak at her gala. And I was like, come on, Mom, what the heck? But in just one quote you had said at the gala has rung through my head 100 times. I don't know if you remember what it was about the fire trucks.
Firefighters. Let me think.
The first time they came.
Yes, it was the first time they came, they saved our lives. And the second time they came, they gave us a new one. And they really did. BC has just been, that first Christmas, I was in a weird spot, and I don't know. And you know what? Every Christmas after, every holiday's hard. And it's, it's been almost 4 years now, but it's still hard. And it's such a good thing for me at Christmas. Jared would love this organization. He'd be right in on it too. And just kind of rallying the amount of people that I have reach out to me in those couple months before of how can I donate, or how can I nominate so-and-so, or, I kind of had my hands in probably 6 or 7 families last year of just me donating because I knew them personally, and a different captain. I typically don't choose, well, I haven't chosen a family that I know super personally, because I just think that, I don't know. But, me donating or helping out, there was, I kind of partnered with another guy last year who really, his company really wanted to get into BCE. And so I kind of did all my events with him and kind of got him through. And now, he's set to do another family next year. It's just kind of, everybody kind of comes together. 2 years ago, there were 2 recipients in my neighborhood. So I had, big parts in each of their drops. So it's just, it's a big, huge community, and it's a lot of fun. So
the thing that you're teaching, I know teaching me at, no matter what happens to you in life, your focus is outward, and how you're caring for those, and like I said, like inspiring so many different people in the process of it. And again, I know I've been watching, I'm like, holy moly, how is she? But then around it, a whole group of people around it too, that a lot of times in life, we can't control what happens to us, with getting sick, or, car accident, or any of these things. You can't control any of that stuff, but it's like being able to turn that and watching it into a force for good. Hundreds, if not thousands of people are being impacted by this, by a volunteer had stepped forward at one point to be able to bless a family. They stepped in to be able to do it. And now the ripples are what are what we're hearing. And each and every time we're planting more and more of those seeds, which is, it's amazing. We have about 5 minutes left before we wrap up. If you have any questions or anything, please comment below. I know I'll pass it back over to you, to Jillayne. I know you're on a path there. I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, no, I think a couple, I have some little tips and things like that, but I think another big thing that I wanted to just go over is, I think one thing that I hear a lot is like, oh, I would do it, but I'm just too busy. And I'm like, hello, like I'm literally chasing 3 kids around by myself. I have a full-time job. I have, and it's like, I know there are people busier than me. I know there are people less busy than me, but I think that just the rewards and the payoff of, it's only a month by the time you pick your family, and, it's like my whole life for a month, because I can't like stop thinking about it. But it just, the payoff and the benefits and the just the heartwarming feel good of it every single year is so worth any single everything. So don't let being busy be your excuse, because it is busy and it's adding something else on your plate, but you'll feel so good doing it. And it's not just a task that you're checking off a list, or a busy project or anything like that. You're really changing lives. I don't know if I can see questions.
Last one came in, truly inspiring message, Jillayne. Thanks for sharing. Blessings to you and your family. God is truly working in your life. Thank you for sharing your. So thank you so much for being able to take the time. I know you're incredibly busy, as everybody else is, but it's just, again, another stop sign about, turning what could be just absolute the most challenging thing you could think of, and turn it into being a force for good. If you have any questions, or just kind of saying, hey, how can I get tied in? How can I get involved? We have a few different things. We have an event coming up this summer with golf tournament this year, annual event. Also become a captain, be like Jillayne. We should make t-shirts. Yeah, that's what we should do, make some t-shirts. But yeah, step along those lines, or just join a team. Be a part of it. And if you hear of other families who have had really, really tough situations like this, please nominate them. Put them in the hopper, because we want to help change their life. We want them to, as they're going through it, to be able to step up and to be able to change a life. Yeah, other than that, thanks everybody. We have, Jillayne, do you have any last thoughts or words? Or
no, if I agree with everything Don said. But if you have any questions, or you're on the fence or whatever, I'm here too. Feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, if you're in that seat of like, "Ooh, I don't think I can do it," grab a friend or grab a, join another team. I've had lots of people that Don has kind of recommended to me or sent my way that I just kind of, they follow me through a few steps each year and just kind of get familiar. So
That's awesome.
you can do it.
Yeah. Thanks again.
And,
Yeah, we do.
nobody has to be, you don't have to be too big or too small, right? Like you're never going to show up with a couple gifts and the family's going to be mad about it, right? So it's not, you don't have to, your first year, be taking them a new car or anything like that. So
That's awesome. Thanks again, Jillayne, for sharing your story and shining light. And I know for me, it got inspired. I had goosebumps through half that story. So thanks so much for stepping up. And again, thanks everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. On our website, we do have a captain application that if you're there. But yeah, other than that, have a great Easter and take care all. Appreciate you.
bye. Thank you.